For all hard rock, heavy metal bands needing worldwide exposure at affordable prices, Online Metal Promo PR is taking bands from the underground to above ground. Visit their official website at onlinemetalpromo.net. onlinemetalpromo.net.
With your hosts, Wayne Noon, Greg Narlo, and Lou Bass.
Welcome to Red Saturday Review. Today we are joined by Rodrigo Von Stoli from the band OfficerX. What's up, Rodrigo?
What's going on? Not much over here. Hanging out here in right outside of Boston, Massachusetts, where we're from.
Really? Yeah. I'm in New York, so I'm not too far away from you.
Cool.
And I've been up. Actually, we just came from. We went to Cape Cod over the summer. We always go up there every summer. We like it up there, and we like the Boston area too. I've been up there probably years and years ago, but we went to the Lizzie Borden house not too long ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I know that's not too far away from there.
No, it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot up in Salem right now. Is that where it was? Yeah, Salem it's Halloween. So
yeah.
Not with an A, not an E.
That's right.
So.
Otherwise, it'll be turned into a half-priced pumpkin.
Right. Exactly.
Now, do you go up to Salem during the Halloween time, or are you not?
I avoid it. I avoid it like the plague.
Really?
I avoided like the witch burnings. Yeah. No, yeah, it's I like Salem. I have lots of friends who live up there. We play up there. A place called Kodo that supports heavy music quite a bit, and we play up there quite a bit. And I really love the town, but Halloween is just wall to wall tourists, and you can't get into your favorite record shop.
Right.
You just kind of stuck. No, you can't even go into a bar. So.
Right.
I avoid it for a good couple of months around Halloween, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny though, because when I first did go there, I liked it a lot. We went there a couple times, and it's a nice place. But then when Halloween's over, the place is dead. There's nothing there. Nothing goes on.
Yeah,
they just shut everything down.
which is how the locals like it,
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah, because the same things around here. When people come around here, I'm just like, go away. Everybody comes here for pumpkins, and it gets annoying.
I totally get it. No, great breweries in Salem, great rock scene up in Salem.
Mm-hmm.
A great guitar player, a band called The Worshipper that it's made quite a bit of noise around here. He now lives up there, and it's a good place to go and meet up and have a couple of drinks.
Yeah. Have you heard of the band Frostbite BC? Because they're from that area too.
I have not.
You might like them. They're actually kind of a funny, weird band, but they're like a Christmas satanic band. And they all dress up. Their bass player, his name is Mandeer. He dresses up like a deer. He's like a man, and they all and I think the guitar player, he's like this jolly green giant guy, and the other guitar player is like this little elf guy. So it's a big themed band. They're really cool. They've been on the show a few times. I'm friends with the bass player. But
Frostbite BC, I'll look out for
definitely look it up, because I think you'd enjoy their show. They're very fun.
Cool.
So, but we're not here to talk about Frostbite BC. We're here to talk about OfficerX, and you guys are releasing your first album. Actually, it was released already, September 30th, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, we're this has been in the works for a good 4 years, but you got to take out about 2.5 years out of that, because we all know what happened.
No, I have no idea what happened.
I don't know. Yeah, so look it up. You probably find some data. So we've been working on this. So essentially, Pete Golan, co-songwriter and bass player in the band, and myself, we started writing songs quite a while ago. And about 4 years ago, we said, hey, it's time to put this stuff down and start the recording process. So we started it back then, hoping to release it all sometime in, hopefully 2020.
Right.
And then, COVID hit, and everyone hunkered down, and also it didn't seem like a good time for us to put anything out. So we just took our time, wrote a few more songs, started working on other things, some content for the release of the album. Right. And then when things started to lift, we decided to put a plan together to put the record out and put some support behind it. It came out September 30th. It's called Hell Is Coming. And we came up with that title, but, the way we thought about it, it's like, for a lot of people, hell is already here.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just, it was kind of an interesting, we pulled that title out of one of our songs, our new single Hellfire. So we decided to use that, but we just hoped that people didn't think it was too like on the nose with everything that's going on.
It fits with the time, so it's perfect.
Sure does. Yeah.
So your band, it has went through some lineup changes, right, since the beginning?
Yeah, it sure has. So we started out with any band that survives over a 4-year period is without any changes is a miracle. Yeah. Yeah. So we had we started the process with Mike Martino on drums, Jared Egan, great musicians, amazing musicians. But a lot changed, like I just said, a lot changed in the last 2.5 years or 3 years or so. Right. So we so a lot changed in people's lives, and we're understanding of that. We don't expect people to kind of stick through the process. So Pete and I just soldiered on, and a few months back we hooked up with Dave Barisi on drums, great, amazing local drummer, and Robbie Davis, who Pete has known for a very long time on guitar, and now we have a solid lineup and have had it for a few months. So we're now looking at the next step, which is hopefully hitting the road a little bit and making some music outside of the Boston area.
Yeah, very cool. So how much has the band changed though since the lineup changes? So
we started out, Pete and I just wanted to write some heavy music. So the band originally was called just Officer, until we realized that there's 100 officers out there. So
I could imagine.
Yeah. We chose to put an X in front of it. A lot of people just call us Officer anyway, but it's fine. Yeah. So we decided to just, we got together to write some heavy music. We wanted a kind of a band name that didn't really pigeonhole us as any kind of, necessarily a metal band or a hard rock band or a cock rock band, or we just wanted something that was kind of, open sounding, kind of like Queen, where you don't know, and we decided to just write a bunch of songs, and kind of naturally, because I grew up with the new wave of British heavy metal. Okay. And Pete grew up with more like on the hard rock side of things. I'm a big Kiss fan as well, but so is he. Yeah. So it became kind of a blend of both, and huge Bowie fans, ELO fans. So it started out with us just kind of writing from the hip, and just, whatever came out, we never kind of pushed anything out because it wasn't too metal or it wasn't too this or that. We just wrote freely. And then, but as it progressed, it just started sounding more, and started to coalesce more and more around more of a heavy metal, hard rock, heavy metal theme. And we just kept going. So now the new stuff that we're writing, and we've been writing it for the past year, as you can imagine, the new stuff that we're writing is coming out much more on the heavy metal side of things.
Okay.
So yeah, it's progressing that way. I don't mind, because I'm a metalhead at heart, for many years. So.
Yeah, especially like the new wave of British heavy metal. So yeah. I was gonna say I hear a lot of that stuff because I was just listening to Hellfire, and what else was the other one? Lady Soledad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to that one, and I also listened to the Thunder and Lightning cover, which was very, very good. I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan.
Oh, cool, man! Thanks.
Yeah. So I do hear all those influences in the music, and yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So and also too, I'm reading the bio, and you were in the band Bang Tango.
No,
you weren't in the band Bang Tango.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake that's often made. No, I was in a band called Bang Camero.
Why did I say Bang Tango? Bang Camero. I'm an idiot. Sorry, that's what I meant. Bang Camero. I didn't have the thing there. I was on something else. But yes, Bang Camero.
No, Bang Tango. The funny thing is that I grew up in California. So when I was a young teen, I would go out to a club out in Reseda, California, called the Country Club, and Bang Tango played there a few times. They were not my favorite.
No, I don't like them. My friend of mine used to make fun of them all the time. I should have known better.
The singer kind of looked like I think Ian Astbury of the Cult, but it did not sound like him.
Not even close.
No. So yeah, Bang Camero. Yeah, I mean,
as I saw that name there, I'm like, why do I recognize that name? And then I'm thinking, oh yeah, Guitar Hero.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of rode that wave for a while there. So for about 4 or 5 years, I was one of the touring singers with Bang Camero. It was about 4 of us and 6 of us, plus a 4-piece band that and then we did all kinds of things. We got out there and toured the country a few times and we played some pretty awesome shows, including Lollapalooza and I think we did Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Kimmel, and we thought we were all going to be rock stars, and that we're just going to, it's tough out there. I mean, it's like it's tough to make money as any sort of band, as a 3-piece. Now imagine a 10-piece troupe of
like a
misfits.
Circus, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's like a ska band, right? Imagine having to go out there, and at the time too, when we were doing this, right at the height of it, people are crying now, but back then gas was almost $5 a gallon,
right?
And we had to get hotel rooms for everybody, and so it was almost cost prohibitive. But we had a lot of fun for 4 or 5 years. We had a good run with Guitar Hero. And then Rock Band 2, and we got a little taste of national fame. Yeah,
very cool. How did that happen anyway?
So I've been playing in Boston bands for a while, and a friend of mine, Bryn Bennett, who was in a band called the Model Sons. He was doing some stuff for Harmonix, the video game company that put out Guitar Hero, and I believe Rock Band as well, right? I'm not sure. I think so. And so one day, back then it was MySpace. Remember that MySpace?
Oh yeah.
So I remember that the one day I was on I got a message from Bryn out of nowhere. And it said, "Hey man, do you want to come in and sing some metal?" I'm like, "Sure, I can do that." And I was like, "Yeah, it's going to be like August such and such in Somerville. Just come out." And I'm like, "All right, can you send me the lyrics so that I know what they are ahead of time?" And I start like getting my head around it. So he sends me 2 words, Bang Camero. So I wrote back. I was like, "All right, that's the name of the song, but can you send the lyrics?" He's like, "No, that's the entire lyrics." So because it turns out, because Bang Camero was very much about just getting people to shout along with us,
right?
It got a little more complex down the line, but at first it was just us kind of yelling big choruses and sounding like the way Def Leppard should have sounded live back in the day with those big gang choruses. And so we got that song on, I think, Guitar Hero 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then from then on out, because that kind of caught on with people a little bit, we did another song called Push Push Lady Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And that one got pretty big on Guitar Hero 2, if I'm not mistaken, with Rock Band 2. I'm getting them all mixed up in my head now. But and then all of a sudden there was interest nationwide to get the band out to play shows, and poor Bryn now and his cohort, Alex Nicochea. They had to figure out how to take this circus, as you said, on the road. And so we had to just figure out how to do it. And we, and so we all put our heads together, and we all assumed different roles. So instead of having a label, and, we all, so I was a social media guy for the band.
Right.
I was singer / social media guru. Everyone else was doing anything from tour management. So, we hit the road, and it was quite successful for some time.
Wow.
And, got us a taste of nationwide exposure, and it was great.
Yeah, that's cool. So I would imagine that's probably the so far anyway, maybe the most fun thing you've done, I guess, right?
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, if you spend 5 weeks on the road in a van full of dudes, man, I mean, it comes to a point where it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
But I can say that probably the first 2.5 weeks were a blast. And then after that, it was like, man, you spell. Take a break and we stop at a Taco Bell. It's
well, you might not want to stop at Taco Bell.
Back then, it didn't matter. We were like trying to just squeak by.
It's too funny, but hopefully you get that same kind of success with the OfficerX. I mean, like I said, it sounds really cool, and it's a very old school sounding. It doesn't sound like it's not. I mean, it does have a little bit of like a modern type sound to it, but it does have the older heavy metal, new wave of British heavy metal type sound to it. I hear a little Kiss in there, and your vocals are really good, and your guitar playing too, right? You're a guitar player, right? As well.
Yeah, I do. I played. Jared Egan played a lot of the solos on the record. I played. It was about a half and half, I think.
Okay.
But now, once Jared took off, we had to kind of keep playing. So I just learned all his solos.
All right.
And now it's like Rob is going to take on some solos, but I still play a lot of lead as well. I just enjoy the hell out of it. So.
As guitar something that you've always played, or did you just like finally take it up recently, or how'd that become?
No, I started playing guitar at the age of 13, I believe.
Oh wow, okay.
So about 10 years ago.
I figured that. I mean, you look very
yeah, about that. Yeah, thank you. No, yeah. So I've been playing guitar for a long time, and the funny thing is that I always got pulled into bands to be, even though I'm a trained singer, I've been singing for just as long. I always got pulled into bands where I'd play guitar and sing backups.
Okay.
So not a lot of people knew me as a singer for a while. At least not on the East Coast. Yeah. And then then I started stepping out as a singer a little bit more, and that's when Bryn heard me, and he was like, "This guy can scream."
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm in the studio.
Who was the guitar player that got you into playing guitar?
Oh, wow. I have to say it was probably, in a strange way, it may have been like even someone like Paul Stanley. If that's, no one thinks of him as a guitar player. Right. And I don't even think of him as a guitar player as far as an influence goes. But I remember just seeing him up there with a guitar around his neck. And looking amazing with a star on his eye, and I was just like, that's kind of. But as far as seriously playing the guitar, it was probably the guys in Iron Maiden, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith. And then I got into, immediately got into all the neoclassical guys, the Invays, the Paul Gilberts, Michael Schenker, huge influence. Michael Schenker, absolutely. Hendrix, certainly. I mean, the list goes on. George Harrison of the Beatles, strangely enough, became a huge influence on me as well. So the fact that, he puts 5 notes together and he makes a solo.
I know. Yeah, it's insane.
Gets you. It's like, you're playing all this crazy stuff because of the neoclassical guys are doing all this amazing shit, and you really want to do all this stuff. But then you start like going in that direction, and then you hear someone like George Harrison playing, like I said, 3, 4, 5 notes, and he writes a better solo that you can actually take home with you.
Right.
So I became a little later on, a few years later, I became a huge fan of him as well.
Yeah, actually, me too. I just started getting into. Well, when I was younger. I listened to the Beatles, probably to the point of like, no, it was just like getting sickening. So I had to stop. And then my brother got into it. I was like, I don't want to hear the Beatles anymore. And then like two years ago, I'm like, I kind of want to hear the Beatles again. So I went and bought all the Beatles stuff, and then I'm like, I wonder what George Harrison's solo stuff sounds like. So I went and bought all the George Harrison albums, and I'm like, I wonder what John Lennon's albums sound like. So I went and bought all his stuff, and I bought Paul McCartney. The only one I didn't buy was Ringo, because I know his stuff is terrible.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I have a special spot in my heart for Ringo, man. But
yeah,
I think the songs are the songs are not my favorite. But he's still doing it. He's 83 years old.
I know, and even Paul McCartney, he's still out there. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
He was 80, turned 80, I think, a couple of days after he played Boston at Fenway this year. I missed that one, but yeah, he's a huge influence on me, vocal influence. I think if you listen to the band, I think you're gonna definitely hear the Dickinson, Dio, Jeff Tate thing in my vocals. But they're singers like Paul McCartney that influenced me just as much as those other guys, operatic guys that are a little more obvious.
Right. Who is your favorite Beatle? Is it George Harrison or is it Paul McCartney?
Oh man, you shouldn't ask a man that question. Some people just have it right off the top of their heads, and it's just clear to them who they are.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I love them all for different reasons.
Right.
But again, Ringo,
he's out.
But I don't think he would be. I don't think the Beatles would be the Beatles without Ringo, right? I mean, he's got just like the feel that I don't know if anyone else could have done it.
Right.
But I would say I'm probably more into the intricacies of the McCartney songs and how he really puts those songs together. They're really nicely crafted. And then John Lennon comes out with something like "Happiness Is a Warm Gun," and it blows your mind because it's an operetta. It's like it's such an inventive way to go, and the time signatures that he uses are insane.
Right.
I don't think he's thinking. I know actually for a fact that he wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to be in 5/4, and then it's going to go to 4/4, and then it's going to go to.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking any of that. He was just playing it like he heard it, but he was like out of space. It was just like some crazy stuff. And George Harrison, his solo output, I think, is right up there with Paul and John's. And I think pound for pound, his songs are just as, he wrote just as many good songs. For the number of songs he wrote, the percentage of amazing ones is just as much as John, or better. I think that.
I think George is my favorite because he's like he was always like kind of cast to the back almost in a way, his songs weren't always up in the front. So, and then when I got into his solo stuff, I'm like, I think his solo stuff is a lot better than all of them,
Yeah, it quite possibly was. Yeah.
Maybe not his early stuff. His early stuff is a whole bunch of noise. I'm like, really? That's kind of weird. But
he was trying to break away from the pretty Beatles.
I guess so.
Go a little nuts.
And even John Lennon, the same way. Those first two albums of his, just noise again. I'm like, yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then he involved Yoko. I'm like,
That's right.
Yeah, but she's terrible. As far as singing, like you said, Paul McCartney, but is he like the first voice you heard that made you want to sing, or how did you want to become a singer?
I think that the first two singers that I actually tried to emulate a little bit more were Ian Gillan and Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple.
Mm-hmm.
So Burn was one of the first albums that really got me like thinking about singing. David Coverdale sings on a lot of that, but a lot of it was Glenn Hughes's vocal parts when he took over with the more soulful, like really high stuff like "Might Just Take Your Life" or not Mistreated, like the bridge in Burn, where where he like takes it into the stratosphere, and live he does it even more. So Glenn Hughes was big. Ian Gillan shortly after, huge. And like, you know, like mid period, not so much mid period, early to mid period, Geddy Lee.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, because, you know, and people, I never tried to sound like him because I don't think anyone can sound like him.
Right.
I don't think anyone should try either because, you know, but Robert Plant, certainly. And then when I was 12 or so, I got into Maiden, and then Bruce became my kind of, almost my goal as a singer was to be able to do the stuff he did, and you know, it seemed impossible, you know, and I think it's just like the kind of guy who, and from what I've heard, he's not a guy who's put a lot of training, a lot of effort into the training part of it, into into learning how to do it. I think he just kind of nailed it. That way, just, you know, he said, you know, he was from the time he was with the band Samson on, he just kind of had this distinctive voice, and he's had this look too. And it's funny because I've met him briefly since, and
really?
He's a very short guy,
right?
You know, I'm 6'2", and I've been like 6'2" since I was like, you know, I don't know, 15 years old. And when I met him, I was like 16 or 17 years old, and he was just little guy. But in my head, when I was 12, I thought he was a giant. I thought he was a fucking like Viking monster. You know, I just thought he was like huge and buff. And then I met him, I was like, oh my God, you're so small. And he's a small guy, but, you know, huge on stage. I just saw Maiden in DC a couple of days ago.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I there to see him.
Very cool.
Yeah, and amazing show. So yeah, Bruce became my influence, and then I moved away from it a little bit and started getting into the more, you know, pop guys, you know. And at the same time, as I was listening to Maiden, I was listening to Wham. You know, I was listening to Michael Jackson. I was listening to like Paul McCartney. I was listening to lots of, you know, Elton John. I was, you know, so yeah, I was always into, you know, whoever kind of inspired me. I never like set like boundaries to what I was going to let influence me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you just take your you know, the people that they do influence you, and you kind of make it your own. You know?
Right. Yeah. And you like it, you don't fight it, right?
Exactly. Now, are there any new singers out there that you are really like or interested in, or taking the influence from?
Frankly, not really. Not a lot. No, because I think that once I started developing my identity as a singer, and this is a good 15, you know, over that, longer than that, but when I kind of settled, you know, probably 15, 20 years ago, I kind of settled into my style. You know, I admire a lot of singers that are out there, but I kind of just started almost kind of trying to not avoid listening to them, but, you know, I don't take a lot of influence from a lot of people. I haven't in a long time. I just kind of I found my spot, and that's where
you're sticking to it.
And that's where I'm going to stay, you know. But you know, but then you listen to bands like the Black Dahlia Murder, for example, and you notice that there is that approach where the screaming, which is not something I particularly do well, and even listen to a hell of a lot, but the screaming is done in a way where there is a low part and there is a high part. And you know, you listen to Mastodon, you listen to these guys that, you know, are doing things that are different than traditional metal, and you can find like things that you can add to your arsenal here and there, and I try to keep an open mind, but I couldn't name one singer in the last 20 years who really influenced me. I was already set in carbonite.
I don't blame you. I mean, lately it doesn't seem like there's many bands around that influence anybody, to be honest with you. So it's
a mishmash, right? Yeah, everyone's already built on the influences that you've already had for the most part. So
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I get it. So OfficerX, Hell is Coming is out. Where can people go to buy the album, or go your websites or social medias?
Right. So I'd say the best thing to do is go to our Instagram profile, which is OfficerX Music. And it's the same on Facebook and Twitter. So you can find our links from there. But Instagram we put out a lot of content there. We try to keep it fun. Mm-hmm. And if you go to our profile there, you can click on our little link tree profile. It'll take you to where you can buy a physical copy of the CD or cassette.
Cassette, all right.
Yeah, so we're behind on the vinyl thing because it's taken about a year and a half to get vinyl ready. I don't know if you know, but so we're probably going to do that, but we're already kind of halfway through writing our next one, so we're going to plan it out a little bit more. But you can find. But you can download it from Bandcamp, OfficerX Music as well. That's a great place to go. We love Bandcamp. You can find our merch out there as well. But yeah, if you go to our social media, OfficerX Music, find the Linktree link and go listen to us. Also YouTube, YouTube is our Hellfire just hit about 4,500 views, which is the best we've done so far. And we're putting together a new video for another song from the album called Red Prince. But just go out there and listen to it on Spotify, wherever it is. We just want people to hear the music after 4 years of working on this. Yeah,
right. It's about time. People need to hear it. One other thing I did want to ask you: who did the artwork for the album cover? Because it's a very cool looking artwork there.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking, because he is a really great dude. I think he's out of Colorado. I saw his artwork on his Instagram page a couple of years ago, and as I was thinking about the album, I sent him a little note and said, "Hey, do you take commissions? Because I'd love for you to come up with something in your style for." And thankfully he said yes, and we worked together on that cover. And what the way it turned out is that guy on the cover,
let's see if I can show people it there. I think it's coming up. Should be coming up, but that's what it looks like anyway.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there it is. So that's his artwork. This is darker than his original art, because we needed something where the logo would stick out a little bit more. Yeah. But the thing is, the whole piece is truly beautiful. And we are working with him again. Actually, I just found out yesterday that we're going to be working with him again for the cover of the of our next single, The Red Prince, which should be coming out in the next couple of months. And he's amazing. His name is Preston Cram. I think I almost forgot to mention his name. Preston Cram. Find him on Instagram. Go check out his stuff. He's incredible. He actually did a piece of art where he did a portrait of the guys in the band, but now the lineup changed, so we can't use the portraits anymore. Yeah. But we might ask him to do a refreshed one with the nude lineup. Yeah. But he did a lineup. He did in that same style. He did the band with things coming out of our heads and tubes.
Oh, really?
Coming out of it's insane. And the guy's great. Preston Cram. Look him up. He's amazing. He's on Instagram and he's a great, talented, uncompromising artist. He's really great to work with.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I saw that artwork. I'm like, yeah, that's really nice looking. So
people have been commenting on it, and
it stands out a lot too. All right, cool. Again, thank you very much, Rodrigo, for coming on the show, and I wish you all the luck in the world with OfficerX, and hopefully I get to see you. Do you have any shows coming up?
We don't have anything coming up. It's all in the works right now. We just had a few shows to support the release of the album. And we are now working on probably starting in January to do something a little more consistent. So yeah, keep an eye out. We're going to start announcing it again all over our social media channels.
All right, sounds good. Again, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we will see you guys. Man. Yep, no problem. We will see you guys next week at ratsaladreview.com, and see you then. Goodbye.
Wonderful, awesome, good talking.
All right, good talking to you, and thank you very much for coming on.
Yep.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, look no further than the Ratsa Review Network. Ratsa Review is taking over the podcast world with plenty of shows to choose from within their network of entertaining programming, including the flagship show Ratsa Review with Wayne Noon, Greg Noggle, and Lou Mavs, as well as occasional co-hosts Manny Mejias and James Lilquist. We also have the official Ratsa Review spin-offs, such as Album vs. Album, Screams from the Grave, where we discuss beloved yet forgotten hard rock and metal albums of the past, and a King Diamond podcast called This Broadcast Belongs to Them. We've also got Old Man Metal's Musings, The Right Opinion with Harrison Bergeron, Beyond Bushido, a podcast dedicated to pro wrestling and MMA with James Lilquist and Eric Adams. No relation to the guy from Manowar or the mayor of New York City. The Vieira Vault with Ralph Vieira. Schmack-a-magob! Schmack-a-magob to you too, Ralph. The Timo Tolkki podcast featuring Stradivarius and Avalon founding member Timo Tolkki. The BS Sessions with Mark and Jerry. Just the Cheese Please, a podcast dedicated to cheesy films of the 1980s with Tara J. and Adam. The Friday Night Party with the great Harry Barnett and Evie. And the Music is Life podcast with Lou Mavs. The Ratsa Review Network is your go-to one-stop shop for the best podcasts out there today. Go to ratsaladreview.com for more info and to find out where you can find, follow, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all streaming platforms. The Ratsa Review Network. We're taking over.